Let's get underway then with the first session of the day and kicking things off in style with our knowledge partner, Deloitte. Welcoming on stage our first speaker for the day, Bhavesh Morar. Bhavesh is the consumer and retail industry leader at Deloitte and is kind enough to share some thoughts, some expertise to help us understand how the retail ecosystem here in the Middle East is really shaping up to influence this new era of consumerism. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Bhavesh Morar.
Excellent. What a terrific event we have ahead of us here today in a very beautiful setting. A big thank you to the organizers on behalf of Deloitte for giving us this opportunity today to kick things off and present on the future of retail in the Middle East market. My name is Bhavesh Morar. Everyone calls me Bav. I am the managing partner for Deloitte's retail business across the Middle East region. What a region we have. We continue to see very significant economic growth across the region itself. We're continuing to see the drive of digital inclusion and technology globally, which is infusing itself through the Middle East market and through the retail network as well. And topics such as sustainability, responsible behavior and governance. How do you motivate, inspire your people continue to be interesting and topical debates today. So what I'm going to do over the course of the next 15 minutes or so is pick on five themes that we believe are influencing and impacting retailers here across the Middle East market, and bring them to life. Those five areas will be: what are some of the evolving and emerging consumer trends? What are the opportunities that it's creating for retailers from a growth perspective? What's the positive implications of Gen AI? We'll then touch on the important topic of sustainability. And then finally, people and leadership itself. So let me move us on to some of the consumer trends. Deloitte globally, on a monthly basis, carries out a monthly consumer survey. We do that across 23 countries. It includes Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And that provides us with a very interesting perspective. It allows us to compare and contrast similarities and differences between buying patterns, customer perceptions, customer expectations in different countries. And let me bring some of those findings to life. The first area is if you look at the financial well-being. Right? If you look at financial stability, individuals in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, over 70% of individuals feel that they're in a stronger financial position than they were 12 months ago. That's a very different position when you compare that to other countries globally. For example, in the UK, it's only 56%. Naturally, if you feel that you are financially better off, that is going to have a positive drive towards retail spending. Let's take a look at inflation and the percentage of individuals who feel inflation is going to impact their daily lifestyle. Again, in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia, it's less than 50%. The same can't be said around other countries. Across Europe, across the US, that figure is much closer to 70%. Another area of trend is spending on grocery and food. Right? Around 15% of individuals in Saudi Arabia and the UAE have looked at and have taken on lower cost grocery items. That, again, is not the case globally. You take a look at Australia, you take a look at Canada, that percentage is much closer to 40% of individuals. And then finally, the percentage of retail spend as part of your overall wallet. That's pretty consistent across the countries. So Saudi Arabia, UAE, around 27 to 30%. That typically is the case globally as well. So what does all of that mean? what it refers to is that the Middle East market, UAE and Saudi Arabia specifically, is a very resilient, robust market and is less susceptible to some of the macroeconomic factors that maybe some of the other countries are dealing with. Let me move us on to, therefore, what does that mean in terms of growth opportunities for you as retailers and leaders of retail businesses? Firstly, retail spending across the Middle East market is on the rise. In 2022, across UAE and Saudi Arabia, $2.33 billion was spent on retail. That is expected to grow to $3 billion by 2027, a 6% CAGR growth. Similarly, online retail sales is also on the increase, at a faster pace in UAE compared to Saudi Arabia, but nevertheless, it is still increasing from an online perspective. Driven by the adoption of technology, schemes such as buy now, pay later is very much encouraging users to use online sales. But there's also two interesting business models that are increasing in adoption, which is driving both retail sales, but importantly, online sales as well. So one area is around cross-border sales. And you can see that both Saudi Arabia and the UAE are in the top 3 countries globally for the adoption of cross-border sales platforms. You take the likes of Farfetch, take the likes of Shine. These are organizations that have penetrated the local Middle East market from a global standpoint. In fact, a survey from Mukatafa has suggested that over the next 3 years, nearly 50% of online sales will come through cross-border platforms. So an interesting question for retailers as to, does that create a new market opportunity for local players here to adopt cross-border platforms? Or is it indeed a threat with global players coming more into the local market? The second business model is around direct-to-consumer channels, which is the preferred channel for the new generation. Gen Z, millennials, prefer this as the mode of customer service. And you've got organizations such as Fresh to Home, which allow individuals, allow customers to buy directly from source, buy products and get it delivered to your home. So again, an interesting set of business models that need to be considered in terms of how you adapt, how you evolve your retail businesses to take advantage of the growth opportunities. I want to touch on another area of growth opportunity, which is Saudi Arabia as a growth territory. There is so much transformation that is taking place across Saudi Arabia, enabled by Vision 2030. There is so much positive disruption that is taking place. Take, for example, the 15 giga projects. You've got Al Ula, you've got NEOM, you've got Red Sea, and so forth. All of these create new opportunities, new experiences for citizens, for investors, for tourism, and for retail businesses. And let me take one example. You may have heard of the line. The vision of the line, and what they're setting out to do is any individual will have access within 5 minutes walking distance from where they live to anything that they want to do on a daily basis. Whether that's a job, whether that's healthcare services, whether that's schools, restaurants, recreation, entertainment, and so forth, all without cars. So what does that mean for you as retailers? Does the traditional retail format, retail business model still apply? How will you service your customers with the vision that the line has? So lots of interesting opportunities coming out of Saudi Arabia, which in itself is a big growth opportunity. And many of you have very significant retail operations in Saudi Arabia itself. Gen AI. Who here is not already an expert in Gen AI? Right, my daughter, who's just turned 1, just about crawling, is babbling away. I think she's an expert in Gen AI, given the amount of hype and buzz that's taking place around this new technology. Interesting fact for you. It took 2 months for ChatGPT to get to 100 million users. It took Instagram 3 years to achieve the same number of users. And retailers globally are recognizing the power, the positive influence and impact of Gen AI. You take the likes of Macy's, take the likes of Carrefour, for example, in France, Kroger. They've all adopted Gen AI on their online website platforms, on chatbots, online personal assistants, to look at how you personalize and provide a much more customized experience to your customers. And there are so many different use cases that are available today in front office in terms of how you service your customers, back office operations like finance, IT, and so forth. Amazon itself, if you are a seller on the Amazon platform, today you don't have to write your own product descriptions. Gen AI will do it for you. I think at this rate, by the time my daughter is of the age to sit exams, she'll probably be using Gen AI to create, do her exams for herself. But I think, look, the important aspect of this is if you haven't already looked at how Gen AI can be adopted, implemented, embedded throughout the fabric of your retail organization, then it's important that you do so. Right, I'll just move us on to sustainability. A really important topic. Many organizations, not just retailers, are now really focusing on this. It's important to have as part of your core values how you look after society, how you look after the planet, as well as your overall growth objectives. And let me bring to life a few examples of what retailers are doing in the marketplace. Take Zara as an example. They have implemented a platform across all of their stores that allows them to manage and monitor energy consumption that has allowed them to reduce their carbon footprint and reduce their costs. Electrifying the last mile. Amazon has committed to having 100,000 electric vehicles by 2030. It's also a very interesting business proposition. If you've got your end customers spending more time in the car parks of retail stores or petrol stations, how will you service them? Does that create more of a business opportunity for you to sell your products and services in a different way? Fashion Commission, proactively looking to encourage the use of sustainable practices, sustainable fabric from design through to production, creating new opportunities for public and private partnerships. Our consumer survey that Deloitte conducts has shown that 88% of individuals in the UAE, 77% of customers in Saudi Arabia would prefer sustainable products and services as an alternative if it's available. So, clear, strong purpose drive, but also a business benefit here as well through sustainable practices. Right, my final area, people and leadership. There are two big concerns of employees and the new generation today. One is, will I have enough money when I retire? So financial security for the future. And the expectations of my employer and the workload that it creates and the impact of that on my personal and mental well-being. Two really important factors you need to consider as part of your employee value proposition. Future of skills. People today don't want to just join and have a single career path. If you look at what Unilever is doing, they've created an internal mechanism that allows individuals to develop different skills by working on different initiatives and projects. Again, as part of your employee value proposition, thinking through how you have differentiated career experiences is going to be an important aspect. And then finally, purpose at the heart of your leadership and your core values. If you take an example of Patagonia, the outdoor clothing company, they are investing all of their profits back into addressing climate change issues. A very strong statement around their values and principles of what they stand for from a purpose perspective as a business. So I'm going to pause here. That was a very quick canter through a number of different themes. I hope that sets the context of today. I hope that you have a great rest of the day with the presentations to follow. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me.